Good morning, guys. This is our last study in Second Timothy. Today we're going to be finishing up chapter 4. And um, last week we looked at verses 1 through 5. This week we will continue and read through the end of the chapter, so verses 6 through 22. I want to present a few questions that we have that I have from this passage. Just again, so you guys can be thinking about this as we're reading it, and then we can discuss these questions on Monday. So the first question: as Paul's life in this world is coming to a close, what is he focused on, and what is he telling Timothy to focus on? The second question: Paul discusses people deserting him. What can we learn and apply to our lives from Paul's example of this loneliness and abandonment, or what he feels to be abandonment? The third question: Paul's final words to Timothy are, "The Lord be with your spirit, grace be with you." How would these last words be an encouragement to Timothy? And I want us to consider the several times that Paul has told Timothy, Paul has charged Timothy in these letters in the presence of God and Jesus Christ. So consider that as you meditate on that third question as well. So let's begin by reading verses 6 through 8. For I'm already being poured out as a drink offering, and the time of my departure has come. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the course. I have kept the faith. In the future there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have been pardon me, and not only to me, but also to all who have loved his appearing. So Paul knows that his life is coming to an end. He's told Timothy that his departure has come, his life is coming to a close, and he acknowledges that he's given his life as a sacrifice to Christ. And as a great example for us, we also should do everything that we do to glorify God, following in Paul's example. Paul's looking forward to the eternal salvation that he has and that we have as followers of Jesus, spending eternity in the presence of God. What a comforting and encouraging thought. And that alone, that idea, spending eternity with God, the more and more we grow to know him, the more and more that idea, that promise, the more and more that encourages us and helps increase our faith and our hope and our love. Make every effort to come to me soon, for Demas, having loved this present world, has deserted me and gone to Thessalonica. Crescens has gone to Galatia, Titus to Dalmatia. Only Luke is with me. Pick up Mark and bring him with you, for he is useful to me for service. But Tychicus I have sent to Ephesus. When you come, bring the cloak which I left at Troas and Carpus, and the books, especially the parchments. Alexander the coppersmith did me much harm. The Lord will repay him according to his deeds. Be on guard against him yourself, for he vigorously opposed our teaching. At my first offense, no one supported me, but all deserted me. May it not be counted against them. But the Lord stood with me and strengthened me, so that through me the proclamation might be fully accomplished, and that all the Gentiles might hear. And I was rescued out of the lion's mouth. The Lord will rescue me from every evil deed, and will bring me safely to his heavenly kingdom. To him be the glory forever and ever. Amen. So as we read through these verses, a lot of times we can look and just see, a list of names that maybe we recognize some of them, maybe we don't. But if we look at this past that, this is a community that Paul was a part of. These were members of the Christian Brotherhood. Some others that weren't, but this was there were so many people that surrounded Paul and supported him. Paul also speaks of um, speaks of Mark, who, if we remember in Acts, he had a disagreement with, and we can learn from Paul's example. He has forgiven Mark, and he has moved past their disagreement, and um, he forgave them, which is such a great lesson and example to us. He also mentions Paul mentions to Timothy Alexander by name, but he doesn't condemn him, but he leaves that decision to God. So he just makes Timothy aware of someone that opposed the teaching. Regardless of how we may feel in a situation, lonely or deserted, abandoned, in the face of great opposition, the Lord will always be with us. The Lord will always be with you, regardless of what you're going through. And Paul tells us that here. He went through many, many different trials and many, many different situations. And the Lord rescued him. The Lord was always with him. And that's such an encouragement to us. Um, let's continue as we read verses 19 through 22. Greet Prisca and Aquila in the household of Onesiphorus. Erastus remained at Corinth, and Trophimus I left sick at Miletus. Make every effort to come before winter. Ebullus greets you, also Prudence and Linus and Claudia and all the brethren. The Lord be with your spirit. Grace be with you. So I want us to really focus on that last verse as the third question that I mentioned earlier talks about. The the Lord be with your spirit, and grace be with you. So that's a powerful that's a powerful ending to these letters, powerful closing to from Paul to Timothy, and remember their close relationship that they had. So keep that in mind as we discuss these ideas and these closing sentences. As we finish this letter, let's reflect on what Paul taught Timothy, what Paul can teach us as well. Paul teaches Timothy to continue in the faith. He teaches Timothy to share the gospel, to share his gospel, the gospel of Jesus Christ. Remember that Paul taught Timothy that we have been given not a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power and of love and of self-control. And Paul taught that the Lord is with our spirit. We are in the presence of Jesus Christ and in the presence of God, and he will never leave us. He will never forsake us. He will always help us get through any situation that we may encounter in this life. With that, I want to just reference those three questions one last time. The first question is, Paul's life in this world is coming to a close. What is he focused on? And what is he telling Timothy to focus on? The second question, Paul discusses people deserting him. What can we learn and apply to our lives from Paul's experience? And the third question, Paul's final words to Timothy are, the Lord be with your spirit, grace be with you. How would these last words be an encouragement to Timothy? I look forward to continuing our conversation on Monday, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. Talk to y'all soon.